Day game edition here. We love getting you that actionable info nice and early on a Wednesday here on First Pitch. And we only need two guests to break it down. Two of my favorites. We got Steve Merrill and Tokyo Brandon joining us here, and we're going to get you ready for some day game baseball. So, guys, I say we get right into it. We got some promos to give you, but we also have some big game breakdowns to get into. Both of these guys have different angles they want to look at in this Mariners and A's game. So, Steve, I'm going to start with you first. How are you looking to break this one down?
Ralph Michaels over at WagerTalk.com does a great job on Instagram. I'm not a big Instagram guy, but I recommend following him because he has charts and angles all the time. And I was thinking about him the other day because we had done a baseball video early in the season, a couple months ago, an MLB 2.0 handicapping, and we had a day-night split. And one thing we noticed is that bad teams do really bad in day games, and the Oakland A's were as bad as anybody. And on the season, Ralph just updated that chart today. It'll be on Instagram this afternoon, and the A's are now 11-48 on the season on daytime games, 18.5%. And I mean, the A's are bad in all games, but it's interesting to me that they've been even worse. And Ralph updated it since August 20th of the last month. They're just 3-8. So even though they've played better baseball over the last month or so, as bad teams often do in September, still just 3-8 in day games. But once again, Ralph Michaels 11-48 in daytime games for the A's. So just a little extra angle I wanted to point out. It's not the reason I'm using this game for the big game breakdown. It's because it's the most exciting game on the board. In fact, both Tokyo Brandon and myself are talking about it. But no, the other reason I wanted to bring this game up is because I did have one best bet last night. We're on a 13-4 all sports run, and my best bet was Mariners run line minus the 1.5, an easy 7-2 win. And I know it might seem easy to just fade one of the worst teams in the history of baseball down the stretch, but it's working. And when you and I last talked, Dan, last week, I used the the San Diego Oakland game as my big game breakdown. I believe it was last Friday, probably. And I'd mentioned that the Padres have been the biggest money burner in baseball for a couple seasons now. And the A's had come in with some decent form after winning 2 and 3 against Houston as big dogs. Well, guess what happened? Of course, they got swept in that 3-game series. They were outscored 23-6. And now Seattle has gone in and outscored the A's 12-2. That is now 6 straight losses, 5 in a row since they've returned home. And every one of those losses has been by at least 3 runs or more. Let's not overthink this one. Let's play Seattle run line once again. And obviously the run line gets the price down substantially. Instead of laying 245 or so, we're getting it down to about minus 145. So I think once again, Seattle run line might seem obvious, but it's cash 5 straight fading Oakland with the run line. And I think it'll be actually 6 straight it's cash. I think it'll be 7 in a row today on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And talk about getting the price down significantly. You can get the price down significantly on an all sports, all access, 365 days for the man alongside me. Just $3 a day that comes out to. You can use code SM365 and check out Steve for an entire year. More details over at his page. All right, Brandon, you also want to talk this Mariners and A's game. Intriguing as it is. And I'm wondering what you're looking towards, because we got a nice breakdown there as far as the side goes. The Mariners laying the run from our man Steve. But you, as always, love coming on here talking some pitcher props. How are we betting this one, Brandon?
I do love the pitcher props. And actually, I'm on a 10-2 Major League Baseball pitcher prop run at the moment. I went 6-2 yesterday and 4-0 the day before. So yeah, 10-2 run on the pitcher props. So I do like them, and I especially like the outs recorded. Reason being is because a lot of people go to the strikeout props, but strikeouts generally a pitcher's going to throw 5, 6, or 7 strikeouts. There's very little deviation when you're talking about low numbers like that. But when you're talking about outs recorded, you're generally talking between 14 and 17 outs recorded for a pitcher. So there's a lot more variation and there's a lot more space to peg the over and under on that. And the book actually puts some really soft numbers out for these outs recorded props. And here's one. So when you have, like Steve said, when you have one of the best teams in MLB going against a historically bad team, as cappers, we have to be kind of creative and look for some decent bets, because you can't just go out and bet Seattle Mariners on the money line minus 280 every day, because eventually you're going to get burned. So you have to look for spots to pick. and I think I found one here. There's a couple red flags on this play, but overall I like it. So George Kirby, he's averaging 17 outs per outing. But so when you do these outs recorded props, you have to look at two things. How deep does a pitcher generally go? How has he been going lately? And how does he pitch against this particular lineup? One more thing is how the lineup treats pitchers. Do they extend his starts, or do they cut them down or cut them short? So today, Kirby's averaging 17 outs per outing, and the book has this at over under 17 and a half. I'm going to bet the over on this for George Kirby, over 17 and a half. It's pretty good odds. It's a pretty good price. Last time I checked, I think it was minus 120. Not too bad. I'm projecting this at 17.8. And the reason I like this is because on the season, when I project over 17 and a half outs recorded, so 17 and a half outs recorded means the pitcher's going to complete 6 innings of the game. On the season, when I project over 17.5, I'm 77 and 48 for a 61.6 win percent. And I have this to the over. I think this is going to fall into the win category here on a 17 and a half, mainly because Kirby has a great history against Oakland A's batters. I look at OPS and a couple of other factors when I check how a pitcher does historically against a team. He does great against the A's in his career. And earlier in the season, he went 7 innings against him and shut him out for 7 innings. So Kirby to finish 6 innings is my play here. The over 17 and a half outs recorded. That's a 2% client play that I sent out to my clients right before the show.
Great breakdown there on Kirby by my man Tokyo Brandon. He's got 2 3-play packages up over at his page. Make sure you check him out at WagerTalk.com. All right, best bet time here on the day game edition. Let's talk a little Guardians and Royals and throw it back the way of Steve Merrill. We're looking towards the total in this one. You think we're getting runs, Steve?
Yeah, I think we are getting some runs, Dan. You know, one thing I love to do in the NBA, and I know this isn't the NBA, but it's a professional sport. And I pointed out because a lot of teams make the playoffs in the NBA, but there's always teams that don't have a chance the last final weeks of the season. I always look for reasons to play overs in those games because I feel like those NBA guys are going to pad their stats, right? And, you know, a lot of offense, very little team defense. I think you can somewhat take the same approach with baseball in select situations. And even though more teams do make the playoffs in baseball, there's still more teams that are out of the running with several weeks to go. And these are 2 of them. I referenced Ralph Michaels earlier. His Cleveland Guardians, 72 and 80. They're not going to make the playoffs. And nobody's Kansas City Royals at 50 and 102. You know, the only good thing for the Royals this year is that the Athletics have been historically bad, because otherwise the Royals would be the worst team in baseball, and they're still pretty close. So these are teams that have obviously nothing to play for. And Cleveland on the season is still 22 games under more than over. And for that reason, they've been a very underpriced offense. However, it does appear we're getting some offense here in recent weeks. It's ironic that all of a sudden they're out of the playoff race. They've started to score some runs. This is a Cleveland team that's had double-digit hits now in 5 of their last 6 games. Not surprisingly, 5 of those 6 games have gone over the total. This is a team also, if you look at recent results, has put up 4 runs or more in 5 of those 6. They put up 5 runs or more for the last 6 games. And that includes 10 runs and 13 combined runs the first 2 games on Monday and Tuesday here in Kansas City. And they finished the 3-game set. Yes, it's an early daytime game, but Kansas City surprisingly red hot as well. You know, I mentioned earlier in the show how a lot of times these bad teams play well in September. And we saw the A's make a little run the week ago. They've been ice cold since. But now Kansas City, the other terrible team in baseball, is the hot team. They've won 6 of their last 7 games straight up. Even though it doesn't matter, they're still 52 games below 500, yet they've gone 6-1 straight up because they're hitting the ball well also. In fact, they've had 9 hits or more now in 4 of their last 6 games, and they've put up a lot of runs as well during that span. In fact, they've now scored 6 runs or more in nearly half their games over the past week. So let's not overthink this. 2 offensive teams that maybe haven't been good this season, but are in good current form now. And for that reason, we get a low total. 9 is a very key number. So I like Kansas City and Cleveland over 9 runs. And that is an early game at 2:00 Eastern Wednesday afternoon on getaway day. And don't forget, right now, you can get the full year of all sports. So all my baseball, my red hot college and pro football and basketball, which is right around the corner for just over $3 a day with promo code SM365. Full details are on my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, on a mere 12-3, 80% college and pro football run the last couple weeks. And you get everything for football, baseball, and basketball for just $3 a day. SM365. Full details on my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
Up and over the 9, says our man Steve Merrill. If you're liking the content, make sure you hit that like button and hit subscribe. We have so much coming your way through the end of the MLB season alongside what we do with all of our great football content. So if you like what we do, all we ask you to do, hit that bell and tell folks about what we're doing here. We appreciate it greatly. All right, Brandon, final word for you, my man. Let's talk a little Pirates and Cubs. The Pirates got absolutely tagged yesterday, man. They gave up 2 touchdowns and the extra points against the Cubs. So they're sending Mitch Keller to the mound. What do we think? He's going to fare a little bit better than the Pirates did yesterday. How are you betting?
Yeah, so the Pirates absolutely suck, but Keller's actually a good pitcher.
Good start.
And they're very few, you like the Phillies, not the Pirates. So very few pitchers in Major League Baseball average over 19 outs per start, and Keller is one of them. Keller actually goes really deep. He's one of the deepest pitchers in Major League Baseball. He averages 19.2 outs per start in the last 30 days. I mean, that's pretty good. And take a look at who he's playing against, the Cubs. Now, the Cubs lineup is not terrible. They're not bad. They're pretty good, actually. On the average, they'll cut down starters' outings by about 0.4 outs, almost a half out off their average. But Keller faced these Cubs very recently, actually, and he went 8 innings of shutout ball. That was at home. So now he's going to go on the road and play the Cubs. A few red flags. His history against the Cubs is not great, but his history this season is great. And everything I'm looking at points to the fact that he's going to complete 6 innings here. The book has this at 17.5 outs recorded, and I have it projected at 18.8. So that's a difference of a whopping 1.3 outs. As I said earlier in my other game breakdown, my 17.5 overs are hitting 61.6%. And to take this even further, when my projection is between 1 and 1.5 over the book, it's winning 61.7, 37 wins and 23 losses. So I like Keller to go over 17.5 here. That's also a 2% play. So that's my best bet for the show. Let me throw this out before we say goodbye to everyone. We have a little time, I think, because we only have 2 guys here. So there's one play that I absolutely love in the San Francisco Arizona game, but the odds are terrible. It's like minus 170, but it's about as close to the lock as I could imagine. I love the play. I put it out as a free play, but I made it a 3% play. So if you want to grab a free 3% play, go to my page at WagerTalk.com. I put it up there. Look for the Giants Diamondbacks game on my page. And that's another free play. So I'm giving to the people. Forget about it.
Yeah,
I am on
Go ahead.
I am on a 10-2. I am on a 10-2 MLB run. I do have a 4% play out that I've packaged with 2 other plays. So you can get all of that for $29. So if you're in the giving mood, come on over and buy that play. But you can get the free one at my page at WagerTalk.com. I love the play, but I can't sell it because it's minus 170, and I can't give it out on the show because it's minus 170. This Mitch Keller prop, by the way, is only minus 105. This is a great value. It's a great play, and I like it even better than the Kirby play. So, but those are both 2%ers. There's a 3%er for free on my page at WagerTalk.com. So forget about it.
Brandon, free play, man, right there. Absolutely dropping them. And you can also check him out on Wager Talk Extra, giving away some free plays in Asian baseball. That's right. It's all here on the Wager Talk TV YouTube channel. Big thanks to Brandon and big thanks to Steve Merrill. Check them both out at wagertalk.com. Before you head over to the site and do that, make sure you hit that like button and hit that little bell. Here's the day game edition coming your way. So hop below in the comments and let us know what you're going to be eyeing. We'll be in there. Brandon, Steve, myself, we love chopping it up with you down there in the comments. So you got questions, you got plays, we'll go back and forth with you. Just comment below there. And that's going to do it for another edition. We got another day game edition coming your way for Thursday. But as I said, hit that little bell so you never miss any of the shows. Wager Talk Extra, Wager Talk Today. Of course, we got Bet On It dropping on a Wednesday. It's the time to make sure you're checking out Wager Talk TV each and every day, because you know what? We got all the tools you need to bet all the sports you love only a click away, only at Wager Talk TV.